Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're going to discuss the rhyme of the ancient mariner by Coleridge. First of all, we need to clarify some points. As we know before in the previous lectures, that William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge wrote the lyrical ballads, and the rhyme of the ancient mariner was part of this great work. Today, we're going to see how Coleridge represents nature, as good, and nature as fierce. Represents the two facets of the relationship of man and nature in this poem. Of course, you can enjoy watching this video. The first video is kind of a movie on the poem, and the second video features the full text with a good reading of the poem. In part one of the poem, we see the setting. It's a wedding, and three men are going to this wedding when all at once one of them was stopped by a grizzled old sailor, a very strange man. The young man who was stopped was now astonished. The mariner says that he sailed in a ship. He started telling him his tale, telling him that he sailed on a ship out of his native harbor, and he found himself that he and the ship was inside this maze of ice. But then the sailors encountered an albatross, a symbol of good omen. The albatross here is part of nature, and this is the smile nature sent to those sailors in distress. As the albatross flew around the ship, the ice cracked and split. Here, there is some kind of overall image that gives you a sense of how difficult the situation is. And when from the south propelled the ship out of the frigid regions into a foggy stretch of water, everything is carried out. The albatross, a symbol of good luck to the sailors, is killed by the mariner. I quote, "With my crossbow, I shot the albatross." Of course, this abominable crime was inexplicable. Why did he kill the albatross? Out of rashness, of course, because it was known that there was good omen, good symbol for sailors. Why did he kill it? Okay. He didn't do anything. He made no noise. On the contrary, when it appeared, nature started helping them. They killed the albatross. They killed part of nature now. Look. And if you remember, we said that romantics believed in pantheism, that there was some kind of relationship between man and nature and God. And God, for them, God is there in nature and they can communicate through the animus mundi. That's why nature is glorified. And getting part of nature is not that easy. The sailor congratulated the mariner on his deed. The ship was, I quote, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Why? Because nature is angry now. The man had no water to drink. I quote, "Water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink." Now, it's impossible now to live in this, situation. They are in distress. Because of what? Because, first of all, of the rashness of the manner, and second, because they supported him, congratulated him on killing the albatross. The sailors blamed the mariner for their plight and hung the corpse of the albatross around his neck like a cross. I quote, instead of the cross, the albatross about my neck was hung. Now his sin was hung around his neck. It took the place of the cross, and the cross is a symbol of religion in Christianity. And now he had his sin around his neck. And in the Holy Quran, we say, وَكُلَّ إِنسَانٍ أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرُهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ ونخرج له يوم القيامة كتابا يلقاه منشورا اقرأ كتابك كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا. This is in the Holy Quran, the image of the bird, that is around the neck of the albatross. The image of all your deeds will be around your neck, and you will get a book in the day of judgment. In this book, you find all that you had done in your lifetime. So here, the albatross, the symbol of nature, and now it's a symbol of the sin committed against nature. A weary time passed. The sailors' mouths were so dry that they were unable to speak. The mariner saw a ghastly skeletal hull of a ship, and its crew included two figures only: death and the nightmare life in death could take the form of a pale woman. The ancient mariner started to undergo an ordeal, journey of torture, because of what he had done. So here you can see him as a tragic hero, a man of illustrious rank, an own mariner, and out of a flaw in his character, that is his rashness, he committed, a crime like killing the albatross, and now his downfall, began, and he should undergo this kind of ordeal in order to be purgated. And we as audience will feel pity for him and fear of being, in his place. So the ancient mariner can be read as a tragedy, and he is a tragic hero. Death and life and death began to throw dice, and the woman won. The game is done, I quote, the game is done. I have won, quoth she, and whistles thrice. For 3 times, out of joy, she whistled, because she won the soul of the albatross. The sailors dropped dead one by one, all except the mariner, whom each sailor cast with his eye, I quote, each sailor cast with his eye before dying. The souls did from their bodies fly, I quote, the souls did from their bodies fly. He fled to lesser world, and every soul it passed me by, like the whiz of my crossbow. Look here. So this onomatopoeic image gives you a sense of how the situation is difficult and how cursed the mariner is. He is in real distress. He undergoes an ordeal because of what he had done. In all the sailors, his crew fell dead one by one. He had none but himself. There is no communication. So he's all alone, really. And then we look inward. In such cases, a person may question himself, may try to revise all what he had done before, to look back, maybe to look back in anger, why not? To look back and to try to understand why he did that and why he didn't do that, and so on. So the mariner now was left all alone in his own world with angry nature, and the albatross, the symbol of his sin, now around his neck. The wedding guest declares that he fears the mariner who had said to him that he was not among the dead. Don't be afraid. I'm not among the dead. I'm just telling you my tale. And then the mariner went on telling his tale. Alone in the ship, surrounded by 200 corpses, the mariner was surrounded by the slimy sea and the slimy creatures that crawled across its surface. Now he was all alone. He had nothing but the corpses of his crew and this sea and the very tiny creatures that crept and crawled, on the surface of the ship. He blessed the beautiful creatures in his heart. He started showing love to God's creatures. At that moment, he found himself able to pray, and the corpse of the albatross fell from his neck, sinking, I quote, like lead into the sea. When he showed love to God's creatures, God forgave him. So the sin disappeared. Symbol of the sin, the corpse of the albatross disappeared, innocently, like lead into the sea. Free of the curse of the albatross, the mariner was able to sleep. And hostile spirits entered the dead men's bodies. The crew, are now alive, which began to move about and perform their old sailor's talks. The spirits flew around the ship singing. He heard two disembodied voices. Now he was half asleep, let's say, okay? He was not, in deep sleep. And he heard two disembodied voices in the air. One asked if he was the man who had killed the albatross, and the other declared softly that he had done penance for his crime and would do more penance before all was rectified. So you may, in the Islamic culture, you may find two persons or the two voices like the two angels, Raqib and Atid, when he's keen on writing the wrongdoings, and the other one is keen on writing your deeds, your good deeds. And they are similar to the bad angels and the good angel that appeared in Dr. Faustus. In every culture, you find these two forces that represent good and bad. These two forces that are inside us. When the mariner awoke from his trance, he saw the dead men standing together, looking at him. They were standing, yes, looking at him. Sure, they uttered no word because they were not really alive. But a breeze rose up and propelled the ship back to its native country, back to the mariner's home. He recognized the kirk, the hill, and the lighthouse. As they neared the bay, sheriffs, 200 sheriffs that entered into the bodies of the 200 sailors. Sheriffs means figures made out of fuel light, stepped out of the corpses of the sailors, which fell. The corpses fell to the deck. He heard the sound of oars. The pilot's son, and the holy hermit were rowing out toward him. The mariner hoped that the hermit could shrieve or absolve him of his sin. I quote, "It's the hermit good. He sings loud his godly hymns that he makes in the wood. He will shrieve my soul, he will wash away the albatross's blood." So the mariner here sticks to any symbol of religion in order to to be away from this crime, to be absolved, to be saved from his torture. The mariner was loaded aboard the ship's pilot, the pilot's ship, and the pilot's boy, mad with terror when he saw the mariner, of course, laughed hysterically and declared that the devil knows how to row. On land, the mariner begged the hermit to free him, and the hermit bade the mariner tell his tale. Once it was told, the mariner was free from the agony of his guilt. The mariner has to go from place to place to tell his tale. The moral lesson is given to the wedding guest. I quote, to thee, thou wedding guest, he prayeth well, who loveth well, both man and bird and beast. He prayeth best, who loveth best, all things both great and small. For the dear God who loved us, he made and loved all. And the moral lesson, is given to all readers in all times. Of course, you have to love God's creatures in order to prove that you love God and to prove that you deserve his mercy. You deserve his help when you are in distress. As I told you, this poem shows flora and fauna and how they are, represented in romantic poetry. We saw the albatross, a symbol of nature, a symbol of goodness, and a symbol at the same time a symbol of sin. And we saw the slime creatures that crawled on the surface, and maybe on the seashore there are some kind of trees or so. Okay, another element beside this element, and beside the love of nature, and beside the mantistic aspect evident in this poem, we have the supernatural. The realm of the supernatural can be reached through personal ordeal, an awesome journey like the mariners. Through a disastrous storm-racked voyage, different facets of the human psyche are depicted. First of all, you saw the mariner, proud of himself, rash as he is, and he kills the albatross, and then you find the sailors supporting him and are very happy of such kind of crime. And after that, they are against him because they recognize that it is a crime. And then we see the mariner as sad and as gloomy when he was, when he was left all alone. And when he expressed his feelings and he showed love to God's creatures, he started enjoying God's mercy. So you saw different facets of human psyche. The central character of the poem is haunted by terrifying monsters and zombies, tormented by guilt, illusion, and degradation, impotence, and despair, until in the end he achieves redemption. The supernatural element here was prepared for by Coleridge, who read a lot. Among the books he read was the narrative written by Captain Cook's voyage to the Pacific, 1784. I told you the mariner, when he was left all alone, started to focus into himself and his surroundings, and we as readers started to focus into the inward actions of the man. The ship is powered by a submarine spirit, and the mariner himself becomes invisible. Now, so the ship was troubled, and the mariner was already, asleep. In this poem, nature takes three forms: animals, weather, elements, and other features that make up the physical world, and humans and human nature, the natural laws and order in the world. There's a difference between the uncanny and the supernatural. Of course, now we know the supernatural, but the uncanny conveys and confirms to us the existence of the supernatural. But the thing that conveys this feeling of the supernatural is not supernatural in itself, by the way. The albatross had emerged from the other world of the supernatural, and it seems to possess the power to move between the two realms, to transcend the natural habit of the bird to the nominal supernatural, to be supernatural in itself. And Coleridge here, in his view of the supernatural, is like Saudis as impressions. He saw the supernatural element as impressions from beyond common objects, but communicated through them, through the common objects. They are supernatural elements conveyed through common objects. Now I would like to that you have the opportunity to enjoy this recording of the poem. And now, after you've finished watching the okay, now after finished watching the whole video, please drop me a comment. Thank you very much. See you next lecture.